So this video, I would like to talk about Australian politics. I know it's a shit topic, but I have some things that I'd like to say and share with y'all. So, one of the main things I'd like to point out is that I always hear people who I feel like they're not informed. I'm not informed. Get that right off my chest right now. I don't know what I'm talking about with politics, but here's just my opinion. When people talk about small business and they hear, businesses are going to get tax cuts, and they have this massive meltdown, small businesses are getting tax cuts, and people complaining, I need more pay, my pay needs to go up to do all of this, bro. Just stop and relax for a second, okay? I agree that if a business posts billions in profit, they probably don't need a tax break just yet. They're probably doing okay. But when we start talking about smaller business, we need every bit of help we can get. Now, you as an employee, you don't pay your bills. You need to understand this straight away. You don't pay your bills. Yeah, you do the time, you get paid the cash that pays your bills, but the business doesn't just pull that money out of its arse. So it's not fairy money that the business just has on a tree somewhere. The business works for the money. The business does the deals, the business purchases the product, whatever the service may be. It creates that offering for the consumer to generate the money that pays your bills. You don't pay your bills. The business pays your bills. The business pays for your kids' Christmas presents. The business pays for your leave, your sick leave. All of that shit comes from the business. Now, if you don't support your local business, then you're not going to get paid. So you won't be able to pay your bills. You won't have a job. We understand as business owners that people want more money in their pockets to pay their bills. That's perfectly okay, and so you should. Everyone in Australia deserves more. Why not? There's heaps to go around. We should all get more. But at the same time, it's just not there. It's unrealistic to ask a business not to get tax breaks and to pay you more and to do all these things for the hard done by employees. When you own your own business, you can sort of see a little bit into the matrix, and a lot of what you think is okay is probably not at the top. And that goes for businesses of all sizes. You've got massive mining companies that spend hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars a day to make a yearly profit of $1 million. Now, that's a huge operation. It's a lot different to my business or any other small business, but think about the scale and the amount of people they employ, the contracts they give out, all the blah, 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 the shit to take $1 million away in the bank. It seems like, to me, a waste of time. Now, on a small business scale, we have to do multiple things, employ multiple people, pay all these bills, do all the things that a normal person does, but for a business, as well as pay our own shit, for our own kids' presents, for our own sick leave. We have to pay our own school holidays. We don't get that stuff. We have to create that money from somewhere. So you need to support your local businesses. Another part of this is, if you don't support your local businesses, it affects you in other ways. Now, your house isn't worth $500,000 because it's a nice house. It's worth $500,000 because of the location it's in. Now, that location is only as good as its amenities. Its amenities, schools, transport, social events, facilities, businesses, medical facilities, etc., etc. Now, if you live in a town or near a town that doesn't live near any businesses, i.e. small grocers, cafes, etc., etc., your house is probably not going to be worth shit. If it is currently near a place with all those facilities, but town's doing poorly and a lot of small businesses are shutting, you can bet that the value of your property is not going to increase. It's going to decrease because town is failing. It reflects in the small businesses, which is clearly visible to any investor or house purchaser. When they rock up and they see that things are bad, if they're a smarty pants, they'll know that the area is not a good area, work is poor, the local income per household must be low because nobody's spending money in their town, keeping the way that it looks, the way that it feels, to a super high standard. If your cafes aren't thriving and have lots of people in them and there's chairs out the front with nobody on them, that doesn't last forever, and eventually things shut down and town looks poor. There's nothing there, there's nothing to do. And this drops the value of your house. It reduces the jobs for you or your children. Small businesses are often the first place young kids go when they want their first job. And not just them, people of all ages end up being employed by small businesses. It's a huge sector of employment, and especially in your local towns where jobs are super important for those who need specific hours, specific times, specific requirements. It's often the small business that can be more flexible in providing that for you as a human, because if you go to a big business or a big company or whatever it may be, you're pretty much bound by their rules and their time schedule. They don't really care too much about what you've got going on in your life. They'll tell you that you do. But if your company has more than, say, 50 people, they don't give a shit about you. I'm telling you right now, the person at the top probably doesn't care about you as much as he pretends he does or he puts out in his monthly statements. If you fuck up or if you're late too often or if your kids, are getting to school late, he doesn't care about that. He's not worried. He's worried about his bottom line. Is the business going well? Is everyone getting paid? Blah, blah, blah. Doesn't care about your personal situation. Small business can be flexible to that if you have a good boss. So you need to take care of those small businesses instead of ratting them out and, everyone thinking about themselves here. In America, a cafe worker earns, as we all probably know, not a lot. In Australia, we get young guys walking, I don't own a cafe by the way, we get young people walking in wanting $24 an hour, and then, Saturday and Sunday rates on top of that. And then we don't have a promise often as a small business that we're gonna make any money any day, especially on weekends. But we have to pay all these people this high rate of pay, There are definitely a lot of businesses out there balling, doing really well. There's also definitely a lot of businesses out there that appear to be doing really well, but their owners are broke as shit. Their owners are working flat out, probably for no more than $30,000 to $60,000 a year. And you may think that just looking at their store by all the people in there, that they're doing so well, but often with more people, more consumers, comes more employees, which just eats away at that profit, and it's a vicious cycle. So probably the moral of this video I'm asking for is support your small businesses. When you're talking about politics, don't think about yourself all the time. Think about the big picture. Don't even think about an individual business. Think about Australia. Think about the big picture. It's not all how it affects you. Just because something affects you personally, if you change one thing in politics, it is not going to make your situation better. If you get your way, doesn't mean that that party is going to fix everything. It means that your personal situation might improve in one specific area, but the rest of it's going to be shit. You got to remember to, we're going to take money from here and we're going to drop your taxes, or we're going to build this new highway over here. Everything's going to be amazing. Everything will be fixed after we do this. Now stop and think. For a party to pay for anything, the money has to come from somewhere. Now, Australia doesn't, they're not just printing money. We give them that money. They tax us, or they tax a business, or they charge us for a service. They're taking from us to pay for that. Now, if you remove the money from one thing to pay for the new thing, often whatever they've taken that money from still needs to be paid for in some way, some respect. It's still going to get paid for. You might have your way over here and have your new lower tax rate or whatever, but the cost of this is going up, whatever that might be. They might lower some sort of medical bill. This other bill's going up. It's just, it can't not. Everything can't come down. There's buckets. You empty one, another one gets full. This bucket's now empty. has to be filled from somewhere else. It's a mix and match game. You guys need to. I don't care who anyone votes for. I'm not even telling you who I'm voting for. But the story is, I see so many people get so passionate about a specific idea, and I don't see anyone looking at the big picture or considering the areas that will affect when making their political sprays. Okay. But the main point of this video is think about small business. Side part of the video is stop making stupid loudmouth, sprays on social media and everywhere that we can see them. If you haven't thought about the big picture, because you sound like a dickhead, none of us are really that interested in what you have to say with your political views. No one's probably interested in what I have to say, but I'd just like us all to chill out, make our decisions based on what's best for the country, not our individual situations, as hard as that may be. Because if you fix one tiny thing in your life, it'll affect another part of your life in some other way, whether it's in a year, a week, 10 years down the line. Just remember that. Thanks for watching.